Hey, good morning, that homestead family here. Lots of things popping in the garden right now. I can't wait to show you. One of the first things I wanted to show you was some of the things that I use in the garden on a regular. And the first thing is these clippers. My son gave these to me for Mother's Day and I am so excited about them. I use these almost every single day. And these gloves, they have like a rubber palm to them, so it's almost like my regular using my hands, but I don't get so dirty when I use these. And then the last thing is this, or next to the last thing, this basket. I use it a lot. I just picked it up, I don't know where I picked it up, on a clearance, and I use it a lot for my vegetables. And then another thing my sweet Mr. Homestead gave me for just gave me, not for any reason, because he's that sweet, but this is just a regular 5-gallon bucket and it has a swivel seat on it. I use it in the garden, plus I can take the lid off and put my garden tools inside, and it's a great way to sit and weed or whatever I need to do. I don't need those expensive garden benches. This works just great. So let's get in the garden. So we planted 3 types of tomatoes this year. These right here is one of them. This whole bed is full of jet stars. They are great for making things like salsa and that sort of thing. They don't always get gigantic. However, this one seems to be a little bit larger than the others. But they don't always get gigantic like a beefsteak that we have in the other bed, but they are just a good all-around tomato. And actually this bed, as far as growth on the vine of the tomato plant, seems to be doing better than the beefsteaks over there. The beefsteaks are taking a little beating with some kind of stress in the leaves. The leaves have got brown edges on them. It is windy out here a lot, so I don't know if the wind is causing the stress. They get plenty of water, so I'm not sure exactly what's causing that. But if you're going to start a tomato for the first time, plant tomatoes for the first time, I think Jet Stars would be one that I would recommend. So we have gotten a lot of tomatoes, and there are some that need to be picked today. Got quite a few that are red and ready to be picked. But look at this. We're still getting blooms as well, which means it's still producing. It's going to continue producing more tomatoes. So that's, can you see those blooms on there? Love it. And those pretty green ones there. Our Romas are doing awesome as well. We made some spaghetti sauce a couple of weeks ago out of our Roma tomatoes, and I wanted to try the recipe out to see if the family liked it first. So, and they did. So there will be a video out coming soon on making spaghetti sauce from our Roma tomatoes to can to preserve for the winter months. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when new videos come out, like in the kitchen videos that we make from our garden. One way to know when Romas are ready is when you touch them, they almost fall off of the plant. So if you've got to tug a little bit, they're probably not ready. I wanted to show you the difference between the 3 varieties that we planted this year. This is our Jet Star, and this is probably maybe a small Jet Star. They may get a little bit, the average size gets a little bit larger than this, but that's the Jet Star. This is our Roma, and it has this pretty little bell shape to it. And these are meatier, less seeds, more meat to these. That's why they're great for sauces. And then this is our beefsteak, and it's a little more, has a little more of that cat head look to it at the top, but great slicing tomatoes just for eating on tomato sandwiches or whatever. So these are our 3 varieties, and you can see the differences in them. So when it comes to getting the cucumbers, I always use my gloves. Cucumbers have like a prickly stem to them, and they can get a little, I don't know, I just like the protection. It just gives me comfort. And I also use my clippers for getting the cucumbers. So these are some of the varieties that we have, and this, if you're looking for a cucumber just to slice up for salads, these are the ones, the long green cucumbers. They're really tasty. These I think are my favorite. They are the I believe these are the Market More. Correct me if I'm wrong if you know differently. I planted 3 different varieties as well. But where did that little, oh, I lost the little bug. So we've had a little bit of infestation of aphids, and so they're starting to take their toll on our cucumbers. They're not quite as green and lush as they were before. Also, I kind of knew this was going to happen because I think I overplanted, put too many in the bed, and so the airflow is not real well, doesn't do real well there. And sometimes I think when we water it, it's so green that the water never makes it down to the soil because it just gets trapped on top. Probably a soaker hose or a drip hose would probably solve that problem. It's just not something we've done yet. This cucumber is this one that has gotten overlooked and grown too big. A lot of times when once they get to this size, they're overripe and they're not great to eat, but my chickens do love these, so sometimes they get a treat. Because cucumbers are green and they don't stick out like tomatoes do, sometimes they're really hard to find. But we are loving the cucumbers, and we also did a video on fermenting cucumbers. They're still in process right now. We're about 2 weeks into the ferment process. We got another week to go. And we also did a video on bread and butter pickles, so be sure and check those out. I'll put the link in the description. Our loofahs have finally started climbing and just really filling up the trellis overhead and over on this side as well. And we've got some loofahs, give you some beautiful blooms too. I really love those. And so they're starting to pop and really do well. Let's go over to the squash. So squash is another plant that I like having my gloves for because they're prickly as well. Let's see what we got in the squashes. So we also have some beautiful blooms here. We've got a lot of little ones. Let's see, it's hard to get these big leaves out of the way. Got a lot of little ones. There's a nice one. None that are particularly ready to pick right now, so we're just gonna let these go for now. I think we saw one down here. Yeah, there's one down here, but it's still a little small as well, so we'll be waiting on the squash today. Won't pick any squash today. These are our purple poles, and I'm excited to finally see some actual, that is an actual pod right there. It's got a ways to go, but they're blooming nicely and starting to produce, and we're excited about what we're gonna get from these. I'm glad we actually planted 2 beds of peas this year, because our other bed has had a mysterious something happen to it. It's blooming, it's growing, all the leaves are curled. Not sure if it's because we put something in it that it didn't need. I don't know what happened, what was actually different, or if we got some kind of overspray from something else that could have affected it. So we'll still have one good full bed of peas, but this bed is just struggling, and I'm interested to see if it does actually even produce anything or not. So banana peppers are doing great, lots of banana peppers, and we'll be picking those soon. And then lots of, can you see the white blooms? So more to come. And our nata pinos, check this out. So excited about this plant. And then over here we have our sweet gypsies that still haven't turned red. My daughter had a couple of these, and she put them in her window and said they turned orange and red pretty quickly. I read that you put them in a paper bag and they'll turn red. But I picked one, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, just left it in the kitchen, didn't actually put it in the window, didn't put it in a bag either, and it's still yellow. So I'm trying to be patient and leave these on the vine. If anybody's ever grown these sweet gypsies, give me a comment and let me know. Do they get red on the vine? Do I need to pick them for them to get red? What's the deal with these? I did want to show you this area. I kind of changed my mind. I was going to plant more carrots right here, but I decided after I planted the thyme over here, I decided to go ahead and use this space for some more herbs. So I planted dill. I just direct sowed dill here, and some sweet basil and some sage. And then over here I have some dark purple opal basil as well. Our sweet granddaughter put fairy garden surprises all throughout the garden for us. So I'll show you the rest of those at the end of the video. So look at these pumpkins. They are taking over the bed. They are coming out of the bed. I keep trying to put them back in, and we've almost run out of room to put them back in. So I'm just gonna let them run wild. I'm gonna let them do their thing. We did find some small pumpkins, so let me show you that. Right down here is our first start of a pumpkin. We're excited. And the watermelons are coming along nicely. We've got several. These are sugar baby watermelons. They're not gonna get huge, but we've got a couple that are really close to being pickable. And we probably got, I think we counted 15 or 20 of them this morning. I think this is our biggest one. Put your hand up there so they can see. So that's our biggest watermelon.
You got one there. You got some small ones in here too.
Yeah, a lot of little babies. There's another.
We got one right over there.
Yeah. See if you can find it. You see that one peeking under there?
I'll point these out. So we got this one here. That one's a little deformed, but it's good. And there's two right over there.
That's a nice looking
There,
one.
there. And then we got one peeking in the leaves right over there.
Yeah. So that's our watermelon. Our corn is coming along nicely. It took a little while to kind of green them up. They went through, I think, a little bit of a shock when they got transplanted. And I have heard, that's one reason I didn't try this before, was because I heard corn doesn't transplant well. But when we decided to use the peat pots and then just bury the peat pots, I figured there wouldn't be as much shock to the corn by not actually pulling it up by the roots and replanting it. So that's our corn and our sunflowers, and we've got actually some more Zellwood sweet corn that we got some from some sweet friends, the Goofketeers. Go check them out. And so we've got starts going with those, and we've also planted some more sunflowers as well.
And probably the last in the garden, and this is exciting to me because it's been kind of a not struggling, but it's just been like dormant, hasn't really grown. That's our blackberries. Take a look at this. So this little one right here, they've all had flowers on them. You see that right there? There's one over here, but we've got our first little set of blackberries right there. Right in there.
Yummy.
And they've got new growth going on here. It looks like there's gonna be a bud there. So we actually got kind of excited and thought, you know what? We may just put a couple more blackberries on each end to make this whole thing. So when we have this whole thing full and we're out here picking, we can start picking some blackberries and eating them while we're doing that.
A little sweet treat.
Little sweet treat right here. So I'm excited about these. We wanted them, they're thornless blackberries. So I'm really stoked about these blackberries.
So these are our sweet potatoes, last but not least. And I've mentioned in the past that they were a little bit thin, so I was going to add some more slips to them, and I finally did that actually. So we've got, I don't know, how many sweet potato plants do you think we have in this bed now?
19.
Oh, that's a good
20.
So hopefully we'll get a lot from that, but that's probably going to be later in the year. They're going to be, fall growth is probably going to be mostly underground. So.
We had some struggling with them for a little bit. They were doing this. Several of them did this, and we don't know why. I mean, it is what it is, but we left it in there. Hopefully, maybe it would grow.
I think we did have to make some adjustments with the watering, because we noticed that this end of the bed was not getting as much water as the other end of the bed was. So we had to take this sprinkler over here and just kind of play with it and trial and error till we got exactly where it was covering, the corn and the sweet potatoes. Corn is on one end of the garden, sweet potatoes on the other end, and just need to get the complete bed watered, not just part of the bed watered. So that's probably one of our daily things is everything getting water, is everything getting the water that it needs.
And I looked at the weather, and it's like for the next 10 days, there's no rain in the forecast. And from like Tuesday on to next week, it's going to be in the mid-90s. So it's very crucial, because we noticed one day we didn't get this one end on the pumpkins, and you could see that the leaves are just wilting. So
quick, it happens quick.
we're actually thinking about in the future just doing an irrigation system out here. We've got it around the house. I can tie into it. I got a friend of mine that can hook me up, and then I can set it to go off like in the morning time when it's cool and get it all wet. So we're thinking about doing that. It's a lot easier than walking out here, but we kind of love walking out here. And one thing, we're going to show you a little surprise for those of you that keep following us about the sweet potatoes. Come follow me, I want to show you. So this bed right here where we've got the Romas and the beefsteaks, we used this. This was our hay bale for the sweet potatoes, if you guys remember. And then the cold got it and killed it. And we kind of restructured it for this, but I want to show you this. This is really cool. There is one little sweet potato slip that got left out and we didn't notice it. It is actually growing through the weed barrier.
So here's our harvest for the day. Not a lot of variety today in the garden. Some days you do, some days you don't get a lot of different things, but we're thankful for whatever we do get. So we're headed back into the house with our harvest and gonna start putting up some spaghetti sauce today. But don't forget, guys, do your best
And watch God do the rest.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.